So, but I'm happy to see all of you very much so. And several of you were with us in trance or in the other talks that we've given. But I'm going to share a little bit of a brief overview for those who weren't with us before, and put it in context what's happening, and then a little bit about the program, and leave about half the time or more for just questions and answers. So this is just a brief. And if you have questions, please do keep them in mind and write them down, and we'll come back to that. So, I was talking with a very dear friend of mine, Mejia, yesterday, and she came over for a cup of tea, and she's one of some of you know her well, I think, and we just catch up every once in a while. And she was telling me that a really amazing thing is happening, that so many meditation groups are coming forward and saying, how do we start a community? Very interesting. It's I won't say it's a new phenomenon, but it's something, an occurrence that is occurring, that is gaining strength. More and more people are recognizing the need to have community, and we're seeing it out there in the world as well. I listen to different kind of talks, and even Asha, but outside of Ananda as well. And people are saying, we're in some challenging times. Community is the answer, part of the answer for us. And I've heard this many, many times, many people around the world saying it. And there's a reason for that. And it's a very important reason to consider and to act on. In 2002, Swami called me to his house here at Ceci, and said, I want you to, I'll keep this short, write a book about communities. And he went on to explain that he had written 2 or 3 books about communities, and he said that those were to inspire people to work, to consider this, because he said that Yogananda, when he first came to America, he had 2 objectives. One is to bring Kriya, to the path of Kriya to America, and he's, as we know, many thousands of souls were calling him, and so he taught Kriya and meditation practices. And secondly, it was to bring about the understanding and the direction of creating communities. That did not happen in the way that he wanted, according to Swami Kriyananda. That America was not ready at that time. So he formed the ashrams, and those are communities as well, or monastic people. But Swami was at a garden party when he spoke so strongly. He was emphatic. Just we must. I mean, I won't share those words, but I remember hearing Swami say those words from Master. Yogananda would shout, "We must go north south." I mean, he went on. Swami would turn beet red when he would say. He said Yogananda was shouting. And this is at a tea party for old ladies in Beverly Hills. They were not the ones he was shouting to. He was shouting to the ether, to us, to the future work and to the future world, because he stressed that we're coming into a time of dramatic, traumatic change. The direction is good. And the direction has a divine purpose and of a further awakening for mankind. But the transition is going to be tough. And he used very dramatic words to describe it. We are in that time now, and we all know. And we're not nearly through. There are many, many other changes coming, all to free us up to be able to be more conscious, more awakened, and more prepared to really go deeper in our paths and in our self-discovery. Well, that's not easily done. And that's why he said community. He stressed, Yogananda stressed, and Swami stressed, you need to find community. and to be with and to grow with, for safety, for security, for encouragement, and for sharing of talents and skills and resources. And because this is the time we are now starting to become familiar with, this is the need is becoming more apparent. Community, as I have come to understand it from meditating inside, it's not only about going to a residential community. That's not so easily done, these days. We can move in that direction, but a first step is what this workshop is going to be about. It's called Creating Mini Communities, MINI, sort of a starter for creating circles of friendship, where we are, where with the groups that we already have, instead of needing to go out and purchase land at the moment. Also, some might, and build little communities up in the mountains, which Master talked about, that we can start where we are without a lot of, we don't need to think of a lot of time and expense and sacrifice and pulling away from families and so forth at this time. What we're going to explore in this series that we'll embark on starting on the 22nd of November is the understanding that, number one, community starts inside of ourselves. Now, I one time asked inside, how do we start to explain communities? Not like we did in the 1970s and 80s and 90s, where I helped with communities at that point. I came to Ananda in 1977, and I was part of communities before that. But we are in a different time and a different age. How do we understand communities? And a couple of aspects came in. One is it's about consciousness. A community is there to help us to raise our awareness and consciousness and become more increasingly conscious on different levels. And those levels are related to the chakras. And so over time, we've developed this approach, the community chakras. We each have our chakras inside, and as we know, and we've heard about, that a community is of people. It's not organization. That's organizing people. It's working with people. It's for people. And people bring their chakras. And collectively, the community starts to develop the chakra system. And within that, by understanding that more carefully, we can see how we can develop a community and understand its strengths and challenges from a different perspective and solutions. And that's what we've developed with this, the Conscious Community Solution. This is the book that I'm working on. Now, again, this workshop will introduce some of these aspects, not in depth, but introduce with one goal in mind. Well, one primary goal, let's say, and that is that we can start to understand community and resonate with community inside of ourselves. And we'll go through a little process around that. Each of us is different, but some aspects we're ready for community. Some aspects we might say, oh, I'm not sure. I did a survey with a group of people that were wanting to start community, and they love so many ideas, but one question caught a lot of people off guard. Do you like to spend time with people? And many people say, no, not so much, a little bit. But we can work with that. Community needs time for oneself and privacy. And so, and it's not always about just giving 1,000%. So anyway, that we are going to explore starting with community within yourself and then extending that reach to that aura, let's say, to a meditation group or a special interest group. Maybe you're part of a knitting club or a sewing club or a garden. or musicians, but to extend that out and talk about how to create community step by step, starting with the vision, starting with an understanding that community is about people, starting with the understanding that we need to learn how to communicate also, not only feel inspired. That's what Swami said to me. I need that the people will be inspired, but they need to understand how to create community on a practical level. And the chakra system, it translates into very practical aspects. So in those first 6 sessions, we're going to be understanding it from the perspective of some of the chakras and starting to think, how can we reach out, work on ourselves, number one, and 2, reach out to a group we're already familiar with. It does not have to be anything that's official or, just like you're saying, I'm coming to make a community out of you. No, it can be very subtle through the heart and through little steps that we take. One aspect, they don't even have to know about it. You're bringing a certain consciousness into connecting people and connecting, helping people to feel connected and inspired and becoming a community of light, because we are learning to bring in the light into whatever group we're with, whomever we're with. And a community can be 3 people, it can be 7 or 8. I would encourage this first step, not more than that, really. But we're going to talk about that, and each one of us will have something different that we have in mind. Or some may say, I'm not ready to do that. That's good. That's good to acknowledge that and say, okay, well, there's some reason you're here. What can we do to help you with that, what you are inspired to receive? And take that with you and plant some seeds, perhaps, for the future. So it's really an exploration. It's a workshop where you'll explore what's happening inside of yourself, how you can reach out and take the next step in your own personal development and expression of love and of kindness and inclusion, bringing people, helping people, and within yourself too, to lift their consciousness. That's the beauty of true community. And I'll just close with these words that Divine Mother gave a message to Swami Kriyananda at one point, and one line of that message was, yes, create these communities, but in the sense of unity with me. In the sense of unity, and that's the ultimate goal. We're here for finding God, and that may be it will be step by step, finding joy in ourselves or finding love in our connections, but unity ultimately with God. And community even ends with that word unity. We're here to find unity, and we do that through community, and that includes meditation, and it includes sharing and service and living for joy. So this is what we're going to be doing in these 6 sessions, and then there's a part 2 that continues that process and takes it deeper as well for those who would like to continue with it. So that's the overview of what is coming. And now you can see why I'm excited about it, because it really is about blossoming, it's awakening, and that's why we're all here. So questions and any other thoughts that anyone would like to share? I'd love to hear your impressions, your thoughts, your questions, anything that you would, and just feel free to jump in. We don't have to formalize it. Just go off of mute and talk and share. I'd love to hear.
So,
please.
Yeah, I would just like to say thank you, and for me listening to this, and I heard you already talk about it, and we did the workshop in France, and I was so happy to be able to have been able to be part of it, and listening to it right now, for me it feels like one of the most important topics right now, and it's hits so close to my heart. And yeah, I cannot not be part of it. It's very exciting, and it feels very, very important. And yes, and it feels for me, you asked the question what we want to know, or what we want to
gain from it.
hear,
Experience,
yes,
yeah.
and get from it. And for me, it's like I would like to get a glimpse to this truth, because it feels like there is so much truth to it, like a deeper truth.
Beautiful. You're absolutely right. There is a deeper truth, and we take the steps and we experience them. They're not, and that's one thing to add too. This is about experience. It's not about a lot of theory. There'll be some of that, but we put that into practice, and then we come together and say, "That didn't work. What do I do now?" And we say, "Oh, okay, good. We're learning something. We learned what doesn't work. Let's see what next after we can take." So it's a lot of fun, actually, that there are no mistakes. It's just all exploring and trying different things, and but based on deeper truth is what you've pointed on, and we'll understand more and more what that truth is as been shared. Good, thank you very much, Katerina. I'm happy you'll be there. So, someone else like to jump in? What do you, for example, in your mind, what do you want in a community? What do you feel like you need? Why are you interested in community? That's an interesting question too. I'd love to hear that.
Well, thanks first for all your introduction explanation. And I think for both of us, it's about follow inspiration, and we're really inspired also to be part of this, and also see the example of France, that you just, some people can just do it, but I think many people, we also like have some steps, like how does it actually work, yeah? And actually keep it simple, yeah? Many things can be confusing, but I think simple living, high thinking is always still the answer.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think in Berlin now we have a meditation group. It's two of us, and we have one more devotee. And there are also many people who are approaching. And for me, I'm not very sure how to navigate this, because there are many people who don't have Kriya or don't even know don't even meditate regularly, but are very eager to meditate. There are also many people in Germany who don't speak German, and they are like immigrants. They come here for jobs, and they contact through email and everything. And yeah, how do we take this online people who could join online, but also these people who can come physically? So there's I see there's a lot of potential, but not very sure how to navigate this.
Beautiful, excellent. That's any of us that have started something new always have that question. What do I do? and which is one of the reasons we're going to start one of the, even in our first one class on the 20th, it's not a class, our discussions on the 22nd, we're going to be looking at how to explore that question and learning that that answer can come from various levels of insight. Very often we ask ourselves, and ourselves are answering the question based on our experience, but that's usually not, it's only beginning. So what we're going to be doing in the first one is we're going to be working on listening, asking and listening inside, and with an open mind, an open heart, and learning how to ask the right question, or to write it actually, but to also to understand how to question something so that you can listen and receive an answer. And so, because it's very clear that if you're feeling some inspiration, as you are, you're being guided. You're being influenced from a deeper source inside of yourself. Call it your higher self even. And ultimately, higher self is part of God and the gurus. But many of us haven't really learned how to really ask and listen. And so that's a beautiful question. How do we do this? And God knows. And that answer will be given step by step. Not the whole picture generally, but here's the next step. Here's what we can do. And here's the next step. Let's try that. Let's try that. And so we're learning. I'm a starter, and I build, I'm a creator, builder of different kinds of things. And this is the ultimate in my whole life of creation, of creating communities. But I started the same thing as you, Sheetal. I'm saying, Swami gave me an assignment, and then I'm going, huh? How do you do that? And I've been through the whole process of step by step. And guess what? I'm going to learn a lot from you guys. We're going to learn together and explore it, but we can talk to each other. We can help to develop communities as a community. We're going to be a community and of friends and sharing and encouragement and learning how to meditate a little bit each time too and ask those inner questions. So I'm excited with your question because I had the same thing, and we're going to explore it. We'll find the answers to it. So, thank you. Wonderful. Exciting.
I would like to add, I think, if I speak of myself, if I'm very honest, I'm also kind of afraid, Like, I want to have a community, but I know, like, oh my God, this is quite a big deal, But even before I moved to Italy and lived in Ceci, I was like, I just live there to one day make my own community. This is in me since quite some time already.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about what could actually happen, it's like, oh my God, so many responsibilities will come. So I just want to it's actually inside me, There's two sides.
I think
I appreciate your acknowledging that. That's a very normal thought. And again, what you discover is that we break it down into small steps. We start with a vision, but you see the vision that you've just conjured up, just sort of expressing, is a vision that may not be the vision that God has for it. And because we're thinking, oh my God, how did we do that? So it's complex. But Ananda was not created in one day. Swami there's a whole process that he went through to do it over years and bringing in people with expertise and acknowledgement. Swami's first building that he helped to build collapsed after a few weeks, and then somebody came and said, I'm a builder, I can help you with that. And then, so God provides the resources and the answers to the questions that we have. And this is how it works. So step by step, but the vision is what ultimately it has to be, what does God want here? And what is trying to happen? And if God says, this is what I want, you can be sure that you'll be given everything that's needed to be able to do it, if we're asking the right questions, and if we're open to receiving that guidance from, and that's part of the learning for us. Community is about unity with God in the process of creating community. So it's an amazing awakening of the soul, bringing that aspect of our beings into doing something. This is part of the divine mission of Babaji, to create these communities, and because it's in his design, for the welfare of the planet, that people come back to being together instead of being isolated, and that through being together, we're going to find solutions and answers to all the questions and be able to overcome fear. Fear is a great blocker of the mind and of the heart, but we're all having to tackle it. It's something that almost everybody's having to deal with now, and that's something we'll work on together as well, by the grace of God. Thank you for sharing that, Thomas. Taking that little risk to say that, but I appreciate that very much. Well done.
But I also wanted to say that there's like fear and doubts, which keeps stopping, and maybe I'm also not good enough to do this.
Yes, of course. And you know what's beautiful about that, Sheetal? One, it's not true. Two, you're going to find out why it's not true. And so you're going to be, by even just being able to say that and go through a process of creating community, even in our little group together, I think we'll have about 15 or so there, that we will be able to experience and talk about some of these things and bring it out. And we're going to we're on the path to freedom. And that means going beyond these hesitations and fears. And that's our path. So this is going to be really, it's not just about building a community. It's about taking the next steps on our own spiritual journey. And that means some of the stuff comes up. That's normal. And in a way, it's beautiful. Comes up. Thank you. I appreciate that you've been in there. My little buddy is afraid of something, and let's put that aside for a moment. Let's continue the process of building, and it's not that we're afraid of being afraid. It's there, but we're going to raise our consciousness above that, and so their higher consciousness, there is not fear. It does not exist, and so this is part of the exploration that we'll be engaging with, I'm sure. So good. Buckle your seatbelts.
Thank you for
in a
that.
good way.
I feel inspired even more now.
Yes, exactly. Hmm. Very good. Yeah, okay. Anything else anyone would like to share? Okay, Irene. Yes, please. Mute, please. There you go. Unmute. Somewhere in there.
There we are.
Yay, bravo. Okay.
I've been working with small groups for about 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they are all engaged in self-knowledge and the game, we play a game. And the game is about the wisdom of life, the laws of life.
Beautiful.
And for many years, I've wanted to bring all these groups together just for, my idea was celebrate life one afternoon, celebrate life and feel that we are all, that the whole of them, all of them, we are on the same path. Sort of community. And it never happened. For one reason or another, I was never able to go to, and this year it was very strong. The desire was very strong. And now I understand why it didn't happen before. Because I wanted to bring something more. And I think you will, more than just, well, that was
a piece missing.
Yeah, there was a piece missing.
Yeah.
I really look forward to.
Bravo! I'm excited about that too. To discover that piece and see how it fits together and shape. Always with this idea that there's a design there. We're just trying to discover it. There's always a solution, always an answer, and there's a process that we have to go through sometimes to see that little piece. And that typically is raise the consciousness a little higher in ourselves so we can actually vibrate at this higher level and see these solutions that they were always there, but we weren't. I'm speaking for myself. I wasn't ready to see certain things, but through the process, more and more. That's the exciting part of life. There's always something more, that will come and provide inspiration and guidance and so forth. So good. No, I'm thrilled about that, Irene. Good. Thank you. Is there anything else before we close that anyone, please feel free to share if there's something that you would like to before we say goodbye for the moment? Any other questions? And I will say too that if something comes up in the next few days that you're still wondering about, you can talk with Genevieve or myself, and we'll work out if there's something around schedule or finances or anything like that. Just we're just open. We want to make it work for you and to be part of a solution that is divine and that is coming from a higher source. And that really is the most thrilling piece for me, because we're working for God. That's how I feel. That yes, it serves ourselves. Yes, it serves our families and our friends and a broader circle. But it serves humanity as well, to bring in a higher vibration into our lives and help others to experience that, this is something that this planet humanity is really striving for and is challenged to be able to accomplish. The world is not cooperating with it very well at the moment because many aspects of the world are going to be breaking down and building up somewhat simultaneously, but mostly breaking down at the moment. And we're part of the rebuilding. And with a new insight, with a new understanding of what the next steps are for humanity, and we're part of that. And I feel very honored that we can all do this together, and take those steps and do the best that we can to bring in more light and consciousness into this planet and to each other. So I thank you very much and for our time together, and looking forward to seeing you on the 22nd. Genevieve, anything else, please?
I think, sorry, Eva wanted to say something, so I'll just let her.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
I've been
Oh, good.
translating, but I
Oh,
just
thank
wanted
you.
to say that this feels also to me so incredibly relevant at this time because I've just started a new job a couple of months ago, and it's a big, challenging job in a company with hundreds and actually more than 1,000 people in France. And I'm in a leadership position where I'm asked to help people to work together, to collaborate and communicate better.
Ooh.
And this is what I am trained to do, but not in my spiritual tradition. And so now the opportunity comes to bring the two things together, my professional life and my spiritual life, and to bring in these teachings. And I'm so excited. It really feels like I'm going to be able to bring this new energy into my job. And I'm so excited. So thank you so much. I can't wait to be a part of this.
I'm thrilled with that. And what you see, and that you're already grateful, you can see it already happening and you're grateful for it. Those are keys for that highest level of success, because it means that you've opened yourself up to becoming an instrument, it's not just the ego that goes into, I have to do this and so forth, but it's that you've been brought into that position for divine purpose, for yourself and for others. And again, God's right there. And as long as we're open to receiving that, and that insight through each other. And so I'm really excited about hearing about that and watching that process in you as well as in the company. So great, well done, and thank you so much for all your translations. As always, that's a wonderful service. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Good. Cool. All right, Genevieve.
Okay. Super. I think we can stop the recording here.
Okay.